Oh, today we are looking at the fabulous fourth line of the 61st gate. The 61st gate is the gate of inner truth, it's the gate of mystery, and the fourth line here is called research. When you get to the fourth line, you reach the upper trigram and the transpersonal stage. This is where the occult knowledge, the universal principles that can be discovered in the foundation, can be externalized in the fourth line as research. And this is research sort of in the modern sense of the word, because we understand research as something that is coordinated and has many different forces involved. This is not an introspective first line research. This is a fourth line networking research. And the fourth line is very fixed. There is a single-mindedness in this line. When you look at the 43-4, which is part of this stream, you have the one-track mind. And this gives you a really strong idea about the nature of this fourth line. The fourth and fifth lines are able to recognize that there is the potential for rationalization. What they are looking for, in a sense, is to make music with somebody. They have all the sounds in their heads, and the rationalization is just taking in the static so that the station comes in clear, so that you can really get the acoustic picture. If you can have an acoustic picture, and if that's not mixing my metaphors a bit too much. This line, this being fixed on the knowing, is called research. And in the exaltation, it says the capacity of concentration to explore the depths of inner truth and maximize its application to fundamental principles. The pressure to know the fundamental principles. The only way that you can get those fundamental principles is through research. You have this line, then research is important for you in your own process. You have to do your research, dig into your knowing. You have to do your due diligence and go through the process. In the larger spectrum, it means that you have a gift of being able to find collaboration for your research. This fourth line is fixed on their I must know. In the extreme, they can seem quite mad in their fixedness to know. They must know. And that doesn't mean that they will only research things that are valid to research. They may get fixed on trying to know something that is deeply obscure and can get lost for the rest of their lives and then end up never really knowing. So it can turn into an obsession with knowing. In the detriment, where the tendency to expansion and integration leads to involving others in the research and may end in a diversity of confusing applications. The illusion that collaboration will enhance inspiration. The fact that it ends up in a diversity of confusing applications does not mean that's bad. In fact, when we get down to the 23rd gate, we discover that there's a line that says you have to explain how everything comes out of the one. And there's a line that explains that you can never explain. Oh, it's all very confusing. I'm confused. There's a line that says that you can never explain how everything comes out of the one, and that you have to explain how everything goes into the one. Oh, confusing applications. This is part of the process of being a knower. Mutation is not of value unless it can transform the totality. That's what mutation is all about. So collaborating with someone else, having confusing diversity, it isn't necessarily bad. It's the nature of their design. What is so important, and you have heard me say this 100 times, that it comes down to how you enter in. And that always goes back to definition, to type and authority, so that you can be clear that you have the right forces to collaborate with. And so that even when the end result is diversity and confusing applications, it doesn't mean that that is bad. That diversity may open up all kinds of different verification in the knowing. The fourth line here can only recognize that there's a 24 at the other end. And rationalization is not the completion of the process. It's just a step along the way. All those confusing applications may be resolved in the 43 through insight, And then maybe they'll be fully explained through the 23. It's a process. And really the fourth line, the recognition of the other end of the channel, it's just that. It's just the recognition. So here we have two sides of the individual process. On the one side, they are resisting all influence. And on the other side, they want to be really influential because they want to be mutative. And neither side is positive or negative. No, it's simply about seeing the mechanic. Ra's advice for all individuals was that if you are going to be conditioned in your individual mental process, it is much better to be conditioned by a planet than to be conditioned by a person. It is much easier for the individual, clearly, because they will always then have a sense of not being influenced, of being truly myself. You know, it's not coming from the life experience of somebody else who happens to have that particular gate and bring that energy through. Just want to check. Yeah, I thought so. I can't remember what line it's in. Hold on a minute. I'll be with you in a minute, caller. Oh, it is. Okay, so Bear has this in his personality moon. He has the 24-4. In a way, he has resonance to this 61-4. But anyway, he gives me the whole channel, or we give each other the channel because I've got the 61. Yeah, I can see you. I'll be there in a minute. So yeah, I don't know. I'm telling you that. Little insights to the world of Bambaji. The grounding is coming through gate 62 in the fourth line of asceticism. And it tells us that there is a time to pursue inner meaning in detail. Well, now, our sun in gate 61, which is individual. So having the correct timing is part of their process. I mean, it's part of everyone's process, really. It's part of what being correct is. And it's especially true, of course, for the individual because of their inherent difference. The moon is still in gate 53, the gate of beginnings, that root center gate in the collective abstract circuitry. Next, it moves into gate 62. And of course, this is our current Earth gate. So we're learning all about this logical gate of detail, the preponderance of the small. And the small that's mentioned is the detail. And finally, gate 56. So we're moving to the other side of the collective, the mirror to the 62. This is the abstract gate of the wanderer, the storyteller, the gate of stimulation. And so I'm coming, hold on. Blackbird at the window, just for a change. Yeah, so even though my sun is in the second line of this at 61, today is my actual birthday, and that's an interesting thing I just wanted to show to you, because we have that happen very often. What our actual birth time was when, you know, like back in however many years ago, many years ago, it was the 13th of January was the 61 too. But it's not the same every year. I mean, obviously this year it's the 14th, isn't it? I've completely lost track. No, sorry, today I'm going the wrong way around. It's because I'm being distracted by a blackbird. So what usually is the 61 line 2 was 2 days ago on the 11th. So it changes, and this is something for you to keep an eye on for yourselves. You know, it's like the sun doesn't move in that regular pattern, so it's not always going to be the same date that brings your personality activation into play. So anyway, I've obviously starved of sugar, so I'm going off to have tea and cake and something. Not that kind of something. Don't be disgusting. See you tomorrow for a fifth line. Bye bye. Go gently.